Hello, Skyan here. So a while back I hosted the Bullet Hell Game Jam, and I submitted a game for it. However, it was actually quite rushed. Here are reasons why the game failed. So the game actually failed because of the lack of visual feedback given to the player, and the insane difficulty curve, even though the game was already quite difficult to begin with. The game was also way too hard, and the player didn't even get much feedback when they hit an enemy, nor did they actually know how much health the enemy had left. The game was also quite unpredictable. Before the boss, enemies actually followed a given path, but the path wasn't specified to the player, and it wasn't easy to predict. During the boss, there were different stages, but there wasn't a really great transition between them. Also, the auto shooting was also quite difficult, and you had to get way too close to the enemy in order to do any damage. Also, bullets from other rooms hit the player as the player transitioned between other rooms. So, to finish your game jam came up, and I thought it would be a good idea to brush off the game and overhaul it to avenge Anthony's music. However, when I looked at that codebase from 6 months ago, it was utter crap. Alright, so this is a bunch of old code that I wrote like, I don't know how long ago. So yeah, this is wonderful. This is okay right now, I think. This is okay. What the heck? What was I doing? I technically am using composition, but I feel like using an extension would be okay. Oh my god. I'm calling get component bullet spawner every frame. This is so dumb. But yeah, I probably could use inheritance, though composition is okay, I guess, but dialogue fun. All this looks bad. This just looks bad. I honestly gave up on this. I need to make an entirely new dialogue system. Enemy HP. Why is town not here? That's very questionable. If type is equal, oh my god, if statements. Oh, I'm not even using else if. Oh, they're not even switches. Not even switch statements. Oh god, this is pain. And this is the code that I written like more than 6 months ago. Oh my god, I have improved my coding abilities. There's so many if statements. Oh my god, at this point I might as well write Yandere dev code. Oh boy. Hey, at least this one doesn't look bad. This one doesn't look bad, it's just a fade in, fade out. Really simple. Nice. HP box. Whoa. Wait a second, set HP. Please don't tell me this is called every frame. Okay, there's no references, so I guess it's not called at all. Move cam with player is not That's so weird. Yeah, I have a move cam with player script that like moves the camera. I just call it camera movement. Why didn't I call it camera movement? It should be called camera movement, not move cam with player. What name is this? Starto. Starto? Did I just make a Sword Art Online reference? Oh.
Link start.
Random position. There's a random position? Okay. Rotate by percent. This is pretty self-explanatory. Just rotates an object by X amount per second. Sound effects manager. At least this isn't cringy. Text. Pretty basic. I have no idea what this is. Why is this here? There's a lot of unused code here. It's all bad. Honestly, I probably could do this like in a lean tween sequence in an IE numerator. That'd be a lot better. Oh boy. Player bullets. Why would you need a player bullet? Can't player bullet just extend bullets? Oh my god, I really could reuse code here. I literally can reuse code. I'm not reusing code. If only my earlier self knew about an inheritance. That would be really convenient. Player can move left, player can move right. You see, this collision movement, it's stupid. Because instead what I can do is I can just use a raycast, and that raycast, like in the player's direction, if that hits something, the player can't move. Then what handles collisions then? What actually handles collisions? Well, this is fine. Why couldn't I just have, you know, update a variable inside the animator rather than do this? Actually, what's the boss script like? Because I'm pretty sure there's actually a boss. Like, where's the boss? Like, what script does that use? Pretty sure the boss over here is in another scene. So I'll go to that scene right now. Boss fight. There we go. Oh god, I can already tell this is gonna be horrible. Enemy HP. Oh, don't tell me I put all the code here. Or did I put all the code for the boss? Don't tell me I merged that with enemy HP. Did I just merge that with enemy HP? You're lying. But yeah, it's insane that I managed to actually improve my coding so much over this past year. But yeah, here's what I did to improve the game. So with the starting scene, I made the shooting range a lot higher, which made the game significantly more easier. I also improved the visual effect of the game, so when the player corrupted the room, it felt more alive. The veins, making it seem as if the room was breathing. I also added a crosshair, so that you don't have to squint at your mouse to figure out which direction that you are shooting in. I also lowered the health of the enemies, as well as lowering the spawn rate of enemy bullets and the amount of bullets that were spawned to make the game easier. I also added more visual effects like screen shake to indicate that you are taking damage. I also added visual effects to indicate that the enemy is taking damage, like a color overlay depending on how corrupted they are, a flashing effect when the enemy is damaged, as well as a corruption bar. The higher the corruption bar is, the more corruption that they have. Once the corruption bar is maxed out, the enemy dies. I felt like this was a good design decision because since the game is all about corruption. However, it was miscommunicated through visuals, and that is something I need to fix in a patch. Also, I made a dirt path sprite in order to give information about the direction that the enemies were going to the player. At first, I thought it would be challenging if the player could figure out the enemy's path on their own, but I decided that would be too difficult. For the left room, I didn't add a path, though, since there was already walls that could give a scent as to which direction the enemy would go towards. Now onto the boss fight. For the boss, which is named Habron by the way, I also made some improvements, such as lowering the shooting speed of the bullets. I also made it so when the flower bombs drop from the sky, I added an exclamation point signal to imply that the area is dangerous. I probably could have conveyed this better, but at this point I was already late and I just wanted to get the game done. I also lowered Habron's HP quite a bit and I fixed the corrupted enemies to make the boss fight much more tolerable. Oh, and I didn't mention the corrupted enemy mechanic. Basically, you can use the previous enemies that you corrupted to your advantage to help you fight the boss. However, when spawned, they become unstable, and after a while, they disappear, leaving you with some HP. As the boss approaches low HP, the room gets corrupted, making it feel as if you and the boss are on the edge as you battle each other off. If I want to go back to adjust the boss, I would make Habron move significantly less, have smoother transitions between different stages, mention the corrupted enemy controls at the start of the battle, and maybe have some starting dialogue at the start of the battle as well. Even though I polished my game, unfortunately a game is never fully complete, and I was able to receive some valuable feedback from Yan in his stream.
Yeah, so the return, you can basically not read it anymore. I mean, you can kind of.
When I said when you use too much post-processing in Unity.
Yeah, it's maybe tone it down a little bit because if it's at the point where the UI gets hard to read, if it's in the corner, then you need to do one of two things: reduce the effect or put the UI more in the center. I'm a little bit confused. Is that the health bar on top of the boss there, or enemy? I guess. Because it doesn't seem to be going down at all. The head bars fill up because it's corruption, so think of it as corruption instead of an HP bar. Okay, but in that case, you want to make sure that your health bar, or corruption bar in your case, is visualized differently. It would fill up, but it fills up to a certain point, and you can see what that point is. Because the way a health bar works is it gets like emptier and emptier, and you can clearly see where the empty point is. So that way you can tell when the enemy is gonna die. If something fills up and it just grows, and there's no indicator for the end point of it, then there's no way for me to tell how much I still have to hit the enemy until it's full, because I don't know the full size of it. So you think there should be a background on that? Yeah, exactly, or some kind of indicator for the end of it, for the right side. And I seem to, like, am I floating? It's a little strange. See, I have this player, and he's going up and down, like he's floating or something. But it doesn't read well. It looks like you're trying to animate like footsteps or something like that going up and down, but then they're way too slow and like the distance is too big. And if you are floating, there should be like some kind of drop shadow that always stays on the same spot. and me then going up. That would just communicate that I'm floating. There, whenever you can move on to one or another place, for every area that you should go on to, there's like a little arrow that says go, and just points in the direction and animates a little bit. I think that would work quite well. Well, that's tough, man. I have to concentrate on two things at the same time: my character positioning, and then aiming at the right spot so I can hit the boss. I don't know if that's a regular thing with bullet hell games. I think usually you're just firing up in a straight line or something. But like I have to control my mouse that is over here and my character that is down here, right? And it makes for some interesting multitasking. It's not even that I hate it or anything. Like it's actually kind of interesting, but it's very hard to concentrate on those two things at the same time. Oh no, I'm getting hit. Oh. All right. Well, that's a very hard boss fight. I don't know. Like I couldn't really pay attention to the boss too much because I was paying attention to my player, because that's the primary thing that you need to look at. I was almost just looking at the boss from my peripheral vision rather than really looking at it, focusing on it, because I have to focus on my player so much so I don't get hit.
I think it uses the corruptionness of the enemy to heal you.
Oh. Is that ever explained in game? Like, did I not pay attention? I think it was never explained
in the menu.
Game. In the menu. Ah, yeah, you should really explain these kind of things in game when they're needed. Like, for example, if there's something you can heal with E, and that depends on this, right? So you should just put like a little E on that, like a little button prompt. Oh, okay. So I pressed E and now I have this... I didn't heal from that, so... Oh, wait, now I can heal here. Ah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a cool mechanic that I completely ignored because I didn't know what to do with this little thing down here. Okay, let's spawn another one of these. This will be a piece of cake with this. Or at least way easier. E to use corrupted enemies. Yeah. By the time you are at the boss fight, you just completely forget about this, so you really need that little button prompt.
So yeah, I'll plan to upload a patch sometime in the future. However, I'm not going to scale this to a fully fledged game. I just wanted to complete something. This was one of the projects on my never-ending documents list that was the closest to completion. Plus, I want to avenge Autumn's art and Anthony's music that they made for the jam. If you want to play the game, there will be a link in the description, as well as the wonderful soundtrack for the game composed by Anthony, as well as UnusualAutumn, which made some of the art in the game as well as a thumbnail. I'd also like to thank everyone that gave me feedback before publishing the overhauled version. Anyway, that's it for me. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe with the notification bell. Also, feel free to check out my Discord. See you in the next episode of Game Dev Torture and Pain and Suffering.